And we are live. We live in full effect.
Yeah, MC.
MC plays.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Come on in, everybody. Hit the like button while you're at it. We about to get started.
What up, y'all?
Yeah.
Walking into the YouTube chat room. How do they find the YouTube chat room, folks?
The YouTube chat room, so you can go right to our live stream. If you want to go right on Musicoin TV and just click on the video that says live, and it also has the chat room right there on the bottom or the side, depending on what you're looking at.
Yeah. What episode? Wait, episode season 2, episode 4.
Yes.
This is America.
This is America discussion. We got a hot topic for you today. Entertainment versus politics. Very, very deep topic, and we're using, this is America video by Childish Gambino to segue into this topic, entertainment versus politics. They say this video actually marries the two and brings out the discussion of the two.
As the idea of politics and entertainment continues, we see even in this past week, Chance the Rapper released 4 songs, and in one of them, I believe he blasted a very prominent local politician.
And he also blasted that he bought a very popular radio station, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a news outlet, the Chicago
news outlet. There you go, Chicago news outlet.
Chicagoist is like major. That name rings bells.
Man,
he bought it.
Wow.
And he said just to balance out the power, right? To shut down those racism.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he's targeting. So I'm definitely interested to know more about it and how.
Is he gonna shut it down? Is he?
Yeah, right.
God for those guys. About time someone stopped that racism stuff. So I'm glad he's gonna do it.
You are ridiculous. You are ridiculous.
Shout out.
As you can tell, it's gonna be a fun episode, y'all.
Yes.
We're gonna stop that stuff now.
Listen, we got a very interesting perspective. The UK. Hey, we got MJ Moonbo in the chat.
Yeah.
MJ Moonbo in the chat.
This is South London.
As a matter of fact, shout out to Tim Men. As a matter of fact, because
in the building.
Yeah.
Heartbeat in the building.
There we go. Wink and Woo in the building. Come on in and join the discussion. And also, we got some announcements. Let's get into a couple announcements real quick before we go deep.
Let's do it.
So the Volareo team. Let me go ahead and pull up Volareo team has partnered with a major jazz radio called Jazz DeVille.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is actually a good move because when we're talking about, being able to play utilize this radio or this smart speaker that they're releasing, they say, what content are we going to find on this speaker? And now it looks like they'll be adding this online jazz radio station, because it's not, they also say they're not exactly just only for Musicoin. They're open to all platforms, diverse platforms to join the Volareo movement. So yeah, I'm this is a big move though. I mean, a full radio station, and it's jazz incorporated, and it's a major radio station. So shout out to Volareo team making some major moves.
Yeah, shout out to Nick.
Most def. And speaking of Volareo speaker, we do have a winner from last week's competition who we said, what was, matter of fact, give him a good breakdown again of the competition, how you said you had to guess to the closest. You had to guess the closest price. Go ahead. You explain it.
Self-suffice. You're explaining
That's
this.
right.
You're explaining this.
We didn't change the price, even though it's worth well over $150. We kept it down at the $89 contest prize as promised. We also changed it from having to guess the exact number to being able to guess the closest. And the deal was, since it's still $89 and Musicoin fluctuates slightly every day, all we said was, when we do this show, exactly when we start around 2 o'clock, what will be the price in Musicoin of $89? So you didn't even have to guess like what would be the price of Musicoin if it went to 100 or 50 or whatever. We told you $89. All you had to do is say, how much Musicoin will $89 be? And we checked as we logged on and traded jokes and politics. And that number was 0.00718706047819997, blah, 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 which translates to $12,383 Musicoins. See, I almost messed up the whole thing. I almost messed up that whole explanation. 12,383 approximately Musicoins, 365 for the year, 945. And we had someone come very close. What did they have? 12 what?
12,535.222 something.
Wow. Wow. So they were within a range of 200 Musicoins. Okay.
Shout them out. Who's the winner? Who is the winner?
Was it 10 men?
10 men.
Yeah.
Bo. He's in the chat. One of our first people in the chat. Shout him out. He in there. You're the winner. We are going to be in contact with you on getting you delivered a free Volareo speaker when it gets released. Let's do it. Woo. He said, yeah. He said, what did I win?
He goes, what did I? You missed the whole thing, and you. How does that happen?
You've won a date with Self-Suffice. Like,
yeah, you get to present me with my new Volareo extra speaker. Yeah. Congratulations.
Hey, and I think he has like a YouTube channel too. So do it on his YouTube channel.
There we go.
You got a good sense of humor, Tim, man. So let me ask y'all a question in the chat room. Just post up. When you see me looking to the side, I often wonder about this. Is that okay when you see me looking to the side in the YouTube chat and stuff as we're posting, or is that weird to you when you see your host looking to the side?
That's a great question.
I always wanted to know.
Yeah, it's I think it's all right. We can see it, but yeah.
Yeah, because I'm looking up at the screen most of the time too.
Because one thing we always talk about is like being human versus like letting technology serve us or us starting to serve technology. So like I know when we're talking to people in real life, we like them to look at us, and say like, yeah, I heard everything you said. You said the water was in the bottle at 3 o'clock. I heard you. What I heard that too. Yeah, you said red and blue is purple. I heard you. But the person is never looking at you. It's kind of like, you know what? Forget you. I'm gonna talk to somebody else.
He said you could shout out in the chat. Wink and Woo was like, man, you can look wherever you want.
Cool. Yeah. All right, so let's move on.
I also wanna
read. You're looking good in profile.
Right?
Give my good side for the rest of the show.
No, turn around. Yeah.
I also want to recap for the family, for all the Musicoin family. Hashtag Food for You. The hashtag Food for You event went down yesterday. It was a great turnout.
Okay, family, so we just jumped right in. Like I said, it's July 21st.
Oh, big day. Shouts for the sunglasses, man.
It's in full effect.
Wow.
Full effect.
So as you can see behind me, this is where the table is set up with all the food. We got many people coming lined up, ready to get plates. We have we also had clothes, so many clothes.
Shout out once again for Unity. Hashtag Food for You event is in full effect.
It's in full effect. It went down, man. It was a great turnout. Shout out to everybody that came out. Shout out to everybody that actually was able to get some food. And one thing about it to highlight, not only just the food, it was the clothes. I saw you know, so many people like, oh my God, I needed baby clothes for my granddaughter. You know, I need these clothes. It's, oh my, they were so excited even for the clothes. And I'm talking about they was racking up, getting bags, stuffing bags, and just 2-3 bags, walking away with garbage bags full of clothes that can last them for the rest of the year, you know. And that was a highlighting moment, you know, for me that I wanted to you know, share with you guys.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. It went down. The we, like I said, we cashed out the music coins, and we were able to use the music coin to purchase the food. We had pizza out there. We had home cooked food and everything. So it was a great turnout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man.
Yes. So actually, let's get into.
I'm speechless. I'm not moving on to the next thing. I'm just asking everybody to have a moment of peace and reflect on that before we move to the next topic. So let's just have a moment to reflect on that.
No, I appreciate that. That's crazy. That it was deep. It feels good. Right?
Yeah, no, congrats, man. Yeah.
And this is one of the things we're going to talk about today. Pup, you're ready to go on. You're like, okay, we did this and da. But many people haven't done that, right? So you did it. You're looking for the next event, the next fundraiser. But for many of us, we're like, wait, blockchain is working. Cryptocurrency is working. It did something in a real community. It was beneficial to people. There's a whole bunch of things going on here that people think is not possible. Right. So you got to chill for a second. Like, let me appreciate that you did something amazing and just with a humble, great spirit. But this is the stuff people talk about, but we don't actually see happening with blockchain.
Yeah.
There you saw real families of all ages. You know, a lot of times we talk about charity for the kids, and we forget there's adults who are out of food and homeless and out of clothes, you know.
And
so
that is mostly who we saw yesterday too.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was approachable. It wasn't like they needed to be embarrassed. You did it with great energy, but you really were able to bring food and clothes, you know.
Yes.
Using blockchain.
And you said it too, you know, like a lot of people was talking about what changes and, you know, what great things that this blockchain technology can do. They like blockchain technology is going to solve poverty issue, is going to, you know, solve the inequality issues, and it's going to solve race issues. But at the same time, who's really doing the work? You know, who's really actually showing that example? You know, I did not see a lot of examples being shown, and I was like, you know, we can do this. I can take it upon ourselves and let's do this. Let's use this as an example. And I'm actually looking forward to the next event, to the next big step of making that campaign bigger than what it was yesterday.
I'm sure you learned a lot of things on this, right?
Oh yes.
It made you think about the next. So this isn't like a one-time experiment. This is like something that you think could be a sustainable use.
Yes. As I think about it, I think anybody, you know, on this platform can use, you know, their audio, their music, you know, any type of piece that they create to generate, you know, funds for any type of cause. You know,
did you get any coverage in the local media where you are? Or did you get any coverage in your area?
Did not get any coverage. We reached out to a lot of local medias, and I
thought that'd be a good powerful story. You know, like local people, you know.
and that's what I learned, you know, about this. It has to really it got to be in everybody's faces. The marketing campaign has to be like top notch, where, you know, I feel like the next one is definitely going to have that incorporated, a huge marketing team behind it, because that's what happened. It was a lot of exposure, you know, that was needed, you know. So
I will also say that once something has happened, again, you're doing a few different things. Like, people like to have their regular world, and then you change one thing, right? And you change a few things, right? One is like a hip hop dude helping people in the community. And even though most hip hop artists we know do this every day, we're all like social workers or educators in the schools. That's not people's common perception. So every time we say, hey, we're doing this event for like peace and unity, people are always like, what? Hip hop? And it's like, we've been doing this for 30 years, but you got to know what the perception. On top of a hip hop person doing this, too, it's like, wait, is it really free?
Yeah. Really?
And it's not just free to enter, but you're giving away stuff.
And you know what? Why are you doing this? What's your end goal? What's this?
So you're already like 75% out of people's comfort zone there, right? It's not about if it's beneficial or not. It's just if they get it. And then you go, oh, by the way, we're doing this with cryptocurrency and blockchain. And then they're like, okay, I'm gonna have to see what this looks like. So I think having this video up, even this episode, hopefully this will make it real. Like, look in our eyes. Do we look like this is a joke? Does this look strange? You saw people showing up, getting paid. Although next time we need to have some Volareo speakers out there, and we need to have some of our music bumping in the background. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be like a, you know what I mean, a little performance venue too.
You know, that's a great idea. Like, how about, you know, a collaboration of us Musicoin artists, you know, take our songs. Even you can take a song that you already have up on Musicoin and we all agree to target a specific cause. And we reach out to that specific cause to set up a Musicoin account. And we now allocate the funds to their account, and then we all get to perform at this event.
That's right.
You know, so now we pretty much have a Musicoin concert and giveaway. You know, to a specific cause.
Like it would be like South by at one of these big concerts, but it would be just for raising money for this cause and for us to perform together.
Yes, and it could be all different genres, you know, and
we can give away the Grammys,
and we can give away grannies.
The Grammys, sorry.
We haven't had them for a while, man. We haven't had a Grammy for a while.
How's been pronouncing things right, unfortunately.
I know, man. He's been taking elocution lessons. Speaking a lot more proper. Yes.
It's so perfect that you were the one to say that, my English man.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I know you'll speak like that. Yeah.
I would love that. I appreciate you.
Yes. Hello.
I appreciate you going. This might be cliche, but I'm gonna do it anyway for self-suffice.
Okay. Thank you, my man. Yes.
So we don't have an interview guest today, but we do got a hot topic. But we have
That's why we don't have an interview guest.
Yeah, because we got a hot topic. And before we get into our hot topic, I say because we didn't get to play any, you know, artists of the week, you know, these past episodes, let's get into a listen to some of the artists of the week and see what the competition look like out there in Musicoin land.
So everybody go in on musicoin.org, and in the can Elena post the addresses as we go to them? Let me see if I can post
in the chat. Remember in the chat it doesn't show, right?
So it's saying you can't post web addresses in the YouTube live chat.
Nah.
Let's see if we can post the names.
Okay.
So these would be the names you put in your Musicoin search bar, y'all. At the top of Musicoin when you log in, musicoin.org, which you can also go to rappoet.com/joinmc. I made a quick link for people to join. rappoet.com/joinmc. Everybody on here is already joined. But if you just want to go there quickly, musicoin.org, go to the search bar, and the 5 names are. And the Grammy nominee reads.
So you got True Ingredients, LSB, Junk Feathers, Matt Noor, or Nori, Nore, and Ermeno Dodario.
Hermano Dodario.
Ah,
No, Dodaro, not Dodario.
Daro. See,
Yeah.
here we go.
Dodar.
Oh wow,
Dodaro.
wow, bloody hell.
Hit that like button on my name pronunciation. Yeah, hit that like button. Yep. Oh, so we're gonna let me share the do you want to share the screen self-suffice so you can also show the playlist as we play?
Okay, so this is a secret. We're gonna listen to each of them separately, and then after we pick the songs, once we listen to all of them, I'm gonna show you the playlist where I'm gonna be adding whatever songs we listen to the playlist, and then I'll show you guys how, girls and guys, how you can all activate the playlist from now on.
Nice. All
because
right.
there's been some changes in Chrome, but the playlist still works.
Nice. So pay attention. We're gonna go to True Ingredients first.
Okay, so just to tell them the order. First is gonna be what? True Ingredients. LSB, Junk Feathers, Matt Nori, and then Hermano, right?
Yes.
In that order? Okay.
Oh look, here we go. True Ingredients, better UK hip hop.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
so is
go
it grime, garage, or?
I think it says hip hop. Yeah.
Yeah, it just says hip hop.
Okay.
They, let me see what else they say here. They got a lot of people in their band.
It says it's a band. So yeah.
So let's have someone in the chat room tell us which song you want us to hear.
Here we go. So we got Who's Next. It's a Concrete Jungle remix. We got All Out. It looks like that's original. And then we got
let's go for the original one, not a remix, because obviously you want to hear what they're actually like rather than you just get the remix person, isn't it? So
stuff.
Okay, I think that's our vote, y'all. In the chat room, y'all still there? Keep up. Don't miss your vote.
We're going all out now. Let me show you how. We're going all out. Let the music open your soul. You can't fight the loss of control. We're going all out now. Let me show you how. We're going all out. See the
Go down so they can see the name.
Be back 'cause it's on tonight.
Other way. Yeah.
All out. Let me show you how. We're going all out. Go all out and do what you please. Just don't distress our energy. We're going all out. Let me show you how. We're going all out. I'm not tripping. If you fall behind, it won't be nothing new.
Trace of a sweat bead trickling down my face at a snail's pace. Let me leave this wretched place. I think in my perspiration's wake there's a salty taste. It's my pet peeve, got to escape. Do it through the ink and the page. Think for it, think through the rage. A habit I can't shake dry like a wet sleep. Let's be frank, I get high on the best beats. From the time I wake, eyes open till they shut for sleep. I feel the need to catch wreck with speech. I'm incomplete without the free. Y'all lose touch. Bang my head against bricks to simulate a boom bip and stimulate a brain cell. To flip the script in a way the kids will emulate, so maybe they can get the gist of how great it feels to rip this shit to bits.
We're going all out now. Let me show you how. We're going all out.
Okay.
nice.
Nice little uppity vibe to that.
And it actually sounded to me like an American lyricist.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
So I don't know if it was like based in England, American group, or if it was like.
Yeah, but they say they're based in London, but and they said they got guest vocals, but I don't know. Yeah, so
Okay, that might have been it too. So maybe they do a lot of guest vocals from different regions around the world, but the production is London based.
Yeah, but
you could definitely tell it was a band. It definitely was a band in there.
no, but that's definitely an interesting sort of way to do it. You know, I mean, are there many hip hop groups that do that sort of like a live band like sort of thing? I don't really know too many who do it like that. Obviously, there is bands.
There actually are
elements of rap involved, but it's an actual hip hop group, if you like, with live musicians.
I think that in terms of what gets on the charts, it's not. It's like more and more, and you would think this wouldn't, but it's more and more like auto-tune electronic sounds.
To me, it sounds like a really good idea. Like, you know.
Well, but it is. So
if you're freestyling with the music as well as lyrics, I think that's a pretty powerful sort of combo. That's
absolutely
more spirit of hip hop, if you like.
Think about it, most of us who aren't on the Billboard charts that are making money professionally as hip hop artists, we perform with bands.
Yeah.
Or DJs or a bass player. Like the show, I just did a show. I just rocked the whole.
I was just gonna say, isn't that one of like your? That's how I know you.
I had a bass player. I had a beatboxer. One person has a beatbox effects pedal. A couple trumpet players, a DJ.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I have drummers. So I think a lot of us who do this, but then we always, again, we're so hypnotized. This is another thing I love about Musicoin. We tend to be so hypnotized to think only what the 5 things we hear on the radio all the time are what it is. When most of us are performing live with live instrumentation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
and the roots. I mean, the roots, you can't say anything without saying the roots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Timmin said that it sounded live somehow. That song sounded like it was it was performed live and mixed live. And I say it did sound that way. I don't think it was recorded that way, but I think it was just a bad mix on their end. You know, once again, we getting into the quality of mixes. You know, that
if I was gonna vote, right, and I was voting for them, I'd be voting for them because it feels like I like the live show element. And I definitely hear what they're saying with that.
Yeah, and to me, it does sound different. It sounds fresh, you know?
Yeah, most
definitely. It sounds like there's unity there too, some kind of collaboration. You had a female voice, a male voice.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my criticisms sometimes of some hip hop tunes is when they have a too simple beat and they just let that go. And it can sound a little bit sterile because to me, the beats are, you know, they're as important as the rap, I think, you know, and sometimes you can just have a good MC, but the beat is just boring behind it, you know? So, yeah, whereas you've got some live musicians that definitely adds a different dimension to the sound.
Right. There was, even in the verse part of the song, you know, where when the beat breaks down, you can hear just more different instrumentation that is not normal, where at first it threw me off, like, oh, I don't like that. But at the same time, when I listen to it again, it's like I feel the vibe more now. Like I feel what type of vibe they were trying to get off with the different instrumentation.
Well, I can imagine live as well, because you know, again, I'm not to knock in hip hop, but some certain hip hop shows sometimes can be a bit more static when it is just an MC, and it just adds a bit more dynamic, you know, dynamics.
Especially if they don't move and they're just like put your hands up and their hands are in their pocket. I hate that. That's not MC means move the crowd, right?
Yeah.
My Red Cliff in the chat said it sounded a little bit like a Prince band, which is a high compliment if you're listening to Ingredients, because the Prince band is like one of the greatest live bands ever. Tim Man says, weird on the mixing. Oh, I know the joint you're talking about, Wadner. What's that one thing? Bam, bam, bam. Yeah, because it has the horns. It has the horns and the percussion.
Yep.
And A-Marie definitely had those horns in the drums. She's bad.
That was a good pickup. That was a good pickup. Good pickup on that one.
All right. I mean,
like I said, it had that uppity feel to it, you know, to make it.
So let's go into what? LSB?
LSB is the next one up. This is a Brazilian stoner rock band. Let's go with.
I don't know. What's the most stoner title? Let's go for the most stoner title then. Is there one?
What do y'all think is the most stoner title in the chat? We got Lady.
We got
Waste of Time. That remind me of Afro Man. Remember that?
There we go. Yeah.
What about Unknown Waters?
Follow the Lead.
Disguised Earth.
Oh, I like that. That's very 6 feet under. No, that's
Lady reminds me of Michael Jackson, Lady of My Life. So that's just like an association. That's a great song.
Lady, Let Me Live.
Okay, I think the most stoner names here are Aurora.
Oh, wow.
Waste of Time. The World Left Behind. Out of those three, what y'all think in the chat?
I think one of them, I think it said instrumental. So let's not do the instrumental. Let's hear the vocals.
Okay, Elena says Waste of Time.
All right, there we go. Let's go over Elena. Elena gets the casting vote.
Waste of Time.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It'd be quite funny if he didn't play now with that title. Yeah.
You just wasted our time.
It's just empty for 5 minutes.
I've been waiting to vote on it.
They were too stoned to do the mix.
Yo, look, you gotta scroll the screen so they can see the title.
I'm loving this already, though.
What have you done with your life? For wanting to give in your time? Are you just tired of living? You, what have you done with your time? The time you need to get up. Are you just tired of
Man, I could have kept going on that one. I ain't gonna stop.
Yo, this is a high compliment. The mix reminds me of Teen Spirit Nirvana. And as you know, that's a dope mix.
Yeah, Steve Albini, mate. Steve Albini on the mix on that. Yeah, I believe. Did he do that one, Steve Albini? Yeah. You know Steve Albini producing, but his voice sounded like he'd been smoking a bit of weed. Yeah. He got that.
He had that raspy in him, huh?
Yeah.
That I mean, isn't that like hand in hand with rock though? Like to have the raspy voice that goes hand in hand with rock.
Yeah, exactly, man.
I mean, but at this point, rock is such a large genre. You never know. I will say, if it wasn't raspy with that mix and with those guitars,
right,
it wouldn't have gone hand in hand, right?
Great point.
Like, imagine he was like, so I'd be like, what? All right, clean up, get a different guitar for that bit.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense too.
But I can hear Kurt Cobain on that track. You know, like that was. They were in the pocket. We talk. I don't know why this is, but somehow we always talk about mixes, and that was a great mix.
Yes.
Like this, it didn't seem like anything was out of place on that track.
Shout out to LSB for that one. That one was pretty dope. I like the mix. It sounds good. It sounds like it sounds.
I will say as well, they are leading. They are leading at the moment. LSB, I believe, on the results.
Nice.
I don't know if I meant to mention that, but they are leading at the moment. I think they got the highest votes.
Oh, we about to find out why then,
It's the battle of the live sounds because both tracks had a very live sound, right? Both of them, you could picture someone in an actual venue performing.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
I have now added them. Oh, how long was that track? Was it like 4 minutes or something?
Yeah, that's a 5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Junk Feathers. It sounds like this is another band. So this is Battle of the Band, Battle of the Live Sound.
Does it say what sound they are?
It's so indie pop, funk, folk.
Oh, they just doing everything.
Alternative.
Yeah.
More indie pop though. I see that indie pop is their main one they put.
Yeah.
Safe to Feel, Satellites, External, Summertime. I mean, Eternal Summertime. I like that one. Eternal Summertime.
All right, go on.
Yeah, if it's an internal summertime, you got to check the doctor as soon as possible.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of pneumonia.
Battle of the Bands week.
I was such a fool back then, didn't know what I had. I thought that summer would never end, but music was so powerful. Felt the earth move under our feet. We knew how to make them move if we knew it was our last scene. Would it change anything? I'm grateful for what we shared. I'm grateful for you. I love where our light comes from. We shine so bright. We make eternal summertime. I'm still a fool, but I have learned to cherish those connections that made waves that never ever crash. It carries on endlessly.
I see you winking, Woo. He said this is my favorite. Junk Feathers.
This
is
track
his
moving.
favorite. I wonder why. I wonder why. Can you tell us why is Junk Feathers your favorite compared to the more up bands that we, especially the more uppity bands that we had? I mean, up tempo. This is very mellow. He said cool. It's cool and mellow. Yeah. This once again, that was another band. You can hear the band playing.
You can already see the quality as we've moved from the first season to the second season. People are stepping up the
Talk
quality.
to them.
Like we got a lot of people coming on here like with the same stuff they would bring to a label. You know what I mean? At first it was kind of like, you wondered if Musicoin was going to be one of those sites where just anybody on GarageBand, shade, but just anybody without thinking too hard could just throw things up. And now you're getting like, oh, this is just dope music that you might not hear on your radio. So I want to salute everybody for their mixes.
Hey, shout out to Wink and Woo. Wink and Woo said the reason why that they're his favorite is because they do real songs. Like stepping, talking about quality. They do real songs, they say. I mean, which it is. He's talking about, having, internal light or the internal light being internal.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, I love when people can have a deeper message, but put it in a relatable way.
Yes. You talk about summertime, but he's talking about the internal light that burns within. Right, got you.
Eternal, stop saying that. You're going to send somebody to the hospital. You're going to trigger somebody. Nobody has an internal burning within the Musicoin community today.
Look, my E's and my S is the same sound. It's either E or E.
You know what it is though? Like I had like this week was hard for me because I had unexpectedly like 2 family members like in the hospital. One had surgery, had her whole knee replaced with like a plastic metal knee. Another one of my very close relatives slipped into a coma.
Man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Back in. So my prayers are with everybody who is having to deal with medicine and healing, and please have a safe, fast recovery and enjoy every moment of life that you can, because you never know what could go wrong. But you do know one thing: you will never experience an internal sun blazing through your body.
But
that is not a real condition.
Go see a doctor.
If you have internal light, go see a doctor.
You just got a new Granny Award. Can we get a round of applause for everybody in the community on YouTube? Pup got the Granny for diagnosing ridiculous medical conditions that don't exist.
Shout out to Junk Feathers for bringing it out.
Yeah.
Yes, shout out to Junk Feathers for being contagious with the eternal light of the sunshine.
My internal light is burning now. Next
Who's
up,
next?
Matt Nori.
Sound designer. Oh,
okay, a sound designer. I like to play around with different genres in the electronic world. So we got dance, EDM, we got house. He does a lot of dance, EDM.
What about crank? Spin the crank. I want to hear crank. Spin the crank.
Oh, by the way, one more thing on that Junk Feathers. It had a nice hip hop vibe where you could see someone rapping on it. Like, and you know, I'm an arrangement person. It had probably one of the best arrangements. It had a nice breakdown.
Yeah.
Shout out to Daniel in the chat. He said, "Ain't no grannies without Danny."
Yeah.
Danny, you gotta stay on here and get pumped the next granny, Danny.
For
Yeah.
real.
The Magooby Award.
The Magoo.
Shout out
My bad, man. You could get tranced into that one.
Y'all already know what I'm gonna say, right? From last season.
Yeah.
That gets the granny for the movie.
Yep.
That's a movie.
That was an action
If you
scene
work-
right there.
That's an action scene. If you're working on a movie, that track won.
Yes.
You can't not pick that track if you're working on a movie. Somebody was getting their butt knocked over a car, dragged across the bar, like Wakanda when they went up in the bar scene. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was in the casino. That was that right there. Like someone said, "Hey," and she was like, "I've been spotted." Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
She was so salute Granny for the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very simple.
Very
Yeah.
simple. It doesn't compare to live bands though that we hear. You know what I'm saying? When you hear the live music and then you get it electronic.
Well, do you know what? I mean, I have views on that. Trust me, I grew up on jazz and I love live bands, but sometimes there's nothing wrong with being totally synthetic as well, you know?
Right.
I mean, to me, that's one of the questions with electronic music. I mean, when I was growing up, first getting into it, that was always one of the things. You would almost be a battle. And I had this when I lived in the States doing raves back in the day. We'd have fights with some of the local bands because they'd be like, "You're not real music. You play records, you're DJs, or you're playing electronic music," you know? And
why did they talk like that?
don't know. I was going to say a rude word.
Was
there,
it like
but,
their jaws was like this or something? You're not real music.
no, it's because they're wankers, yeah. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah. But it was, yeah, we'd definitely like me and Joel, Deadly Buddha, RIP from Musicoin. Like, yeah, when we were doing parties, we would have a little bit of pushback from the guitar, shall we say, band community, who were very like, nah, this is real music, you know. Kind of tied into a bit of that rock and roll sort of shit, you know.
So
we play the guitar, so it's real. So, you know.
Do you feel like, what was the name of the last track we played?
The last track, it was Crank.
Crank, not Crunk.
So
yeah.
I know that, I mean, you just proved it with your statement, but you are more into the electronic and EDM than a lot of people. I'm surprised I didn't hear more about that particular track. I thought there were a lot of switch ups in it. There was clearly some arrangement going on.
You know, I mean, to me, well, in my view of electronic music, like most of my people I know in London would hate EDM. They just think it's bullshit. It's just commercial. That's what, again, that's what Americans...
So just real quick, help us out. What's the difference?
Well, I mean, again, it's such a wide genre. It's like saying who's the real... I mean...
EDM means electric dance music?
Electronic dance music.
So what's the difference between like technical, electronic, and EDM?
Well, to me, what the meaning is, it's the big commercial rave music in the States, you know? I mean, basically, like I said, from experience, I said,
Like
me and
Skrillex?
yeah, Skrillex is EDM. Skrillex is EDM. You know, I mean, yeah, Skrillex is a good producer, man. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Skrillex, but like, he's good at what he does. But I know for a fact, and this has been going on for years, that a lot of the music I grew up listening to, for instance, I was brought up, I love loads of Chicago, Detroit house and techno, 80s, early 90s. A lot of that is black music. It's like black producers from Detroit who will say that in Detroit, they're not really, you know, they get a bit more recognition, but a lot of them producers end up playing in Europe more because they're appreciated in Europe. Whereas in America, it is more, you know, there is more the hip hop culture. That's definitely a thing of, if you're talking about the way music is defined in certain areas. Yeah, you got the black urban music, which is the hip hop sort of music, whereas the electronica in Europe is a lot more mixed. I mean, maybe we're almost going into our post, topic that we're going to discuss after.
We are. This is beautiful.
You know, but
we're building up to it.
Yeah. So to me, yeah, I mean, and that's one criticism from the black electronic producers in the US, that a lot of the big EDM stars, it's very white and it's aimed at this sort of thing. Whereas a lot of the culture comes out of, to be honest, it comes out of black gay discos from like early 80s. House comes out of black gay Latino discos, you know? And yeah, now it's like it's more like your Coachella sort of spend loads of money sort of vibe, Paris Hilton DJ and sort of thing.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's
and she's not from the ghetto, I believe, Paris Hilton. Yeah.
The ghetto of the penthouse jacuzzi ghetto.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent there, but ask me about the music. But
no, that was perfect. That was
it's an interesting thing because
did you just say talking about music was a tangent on the Musicoin show?
Well, we went off on a tangent.
It's a tangent from the pop culture shows to us. This is what we do.
Yeah, I mean, our hot topic of today is, you know, basically, you know, entertainment and politics and this whole race debate and just the different, you know, perspectives. You know,
I know some of the big producers actually moved from the US to Europe because they can make money in Europe and they feel that they're appreciated. And I've seen like some quite successful artists say almost like, well, you know, America doesn't, you know, we're not respected. Even like I said, the community that they're from don't really care about that. Or, you know, there's a whole community into that music, but it's a bit more, it will never come through on the mainstream in your media in the States, you know?
Okay, this is perfect discussion that we're about to get to.
Yeah.
Most definitely. So Childish Gambino released a video back in May.
Hold up, you skipped one, bro.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, Dad, my bad.
That would be so messed up if I was that last artist and I just listened to that whole thing.
I
was into the topic, you know.
Just got the granny for skipping,
you know.
The granny for skipping the last artist who waited the longest to hear their track.
All right.
Fuck.
Hermano, da-da-ro, hermano.
He's a composer. He writes for theater. Oh, here you go. He writes for theater and movies.
Oh, well, you better show up because you know that's my.
Oh, look, come on. You got to pronounce that one. There you go.
Yeah.
The third one down. No, the third one down. I want that one. Yeah.
I got you. This says Esilmora Flores.
That's better than I thought.
Yo, bro, did you ever take a second language in school or no?
Yes.
Not at all.
Don't know.
Did you ever take like a semester? Nothing?
Nope.
I mean, I had to at least learn Spanglish just to get around.
That's all I know is Spanglish.
Yeah. Jazz and tango.
Jazz and tango. This is going to be interesting to hear.
There's an ethnic genre. I didn't know about this. Ethnic.
Ethnic?
Yeah.
Does it say that?
Yes.
Oh, God.
I'm into ethnic. I like ethnic.
God. Lord have mercy.
Lordy.
I feel sophisticated.
This is gonna be a tough one.
That was smooth.
That was very smooth. It made me think about like when I retire, I want to dance around the world with my wife on cruises and like hot places with beaches. You know,
For some reason, I was really thinking about the 101 Dalmatian movie. I don't know why.
What?
Oh man, yo, that took.
What?
I was trying to get the granny for the biggest tangent, and you stole it from me. How did you take my tangent and go? There's something beyond the tangent. It's called a non sequitur.
Put that weed down.
The granny for non sequitur goes to Pop.
Listen, I feel like there's 101 Dalmatians in the room, running about the studio.
Oh my God. I can't even predict these things anymore.
No, right?
I don't know which direction it's going.
Well, bad man, but yours is better. Wait, I got somebody that agree with me though. Shout out to
Yeah, pronounce their name. Pronounce their name. Who agrees with you?
Wadner.
Wadner.
Yo.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I appreciate you agreeing with me. I was really thinking about.
Yo, please spell your name phonetically in the chat for us.
Well,
For Pup, please.
hilarious. No, but yours is definitely a lot better.
Okay.
Man. I definitely like the cruise.
Well, I kind of want you to get the 101 Dalmatians up now, but like, I don't know if we can afford the copyright for that, to be honest.
I like how, I mean, based on stuff we've heard on Musicoin before in the last season, it could have just been the same instruments the whole time. So when that flute came in, and it was like a real quality flute, it wasn't just an accent. It was like, okay, again, everything today, for the most part, maybe one because of the difference in genre, but most of them have really given respect to diversity of complementing each other, the idea of harmony. So I want to salute all of y'all.
Yes,
We're getting some real music. We're getting it. If I was performing at a live concert, I would have loved to be on stage with all of y'all.
No, it was a definitely interesting selection this week, actually. Yeah, you're right.
Most def. So
right.
what's your vote? Who you voting for?
When does the voting end?
So the voting ends at 9 p.m. UTC time, which is 5 p.m. Eastern. And
so y'all got 2 more hours to vote. Try to get in your votes now.
Yeah.
Try to get other people in on the votes now because we got some quality artists this week.
I'm going for True Ingredients.
Word.
Live band and hip hop. Yeah.
Live band and hip hop. I'm gonna go with LBS.
It's LSB actually.
LSB. Yup. There you go.
You can't even pronounce 3 letters in a row.
Yo, I don't know what happened there.
They gave you a granny. You gave them a Bachelor of Science.
Are you sure that doesn't say LSD? What? LSD, mate.
No, you can't.
There's 101 Dalmatians around the studio and they're all floating in the air.
You see where I'm at now, right? I'm playing.
He gave him a language Bachelor of Science.
Yeah. That wow.
So even if you don't win, you got an honorary degree.
But the LBS.
Well, shout out to LSB in the lead right now. So make sure you go and place your votes for your favorite. You heard? You got some.
My choice is last. Yeah, I'm not happy with that. I need to,
go vote for True Ingredients.
Yeah, I'm voting for True Ingredients. I'm getting on there now. Why am I not? Yeah.
So the song we played by Hermano was Asiso, right? Asiso las Flores.
Yeah.
So we know Flores is flowers.
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful piece. I love it.
Dope.
It's gonna be a tricky one.
You voted for him?
I'm actually gonna put in my vote for Drunk Feathers. I like the message. I like the whole eternal sunshine. I like the instrumentation. And also, like it was one of those where like I pretty much decided to vote for whoever you didn't because all of these people.
Yeah, no, they were. It was.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there are some weeks you had is literally one head and shoulders above, isn't it? But it was
yes, say that. This was really, I was proud to do this one.
Yeah.
All right, shall we move on to our next topic?
Yeah, let's do it. This is America.
Yeah.
Let's get This is America from a UK perspective. Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll play like 20 seconds at a time, pause, talk about it.
Yep. All right, let me go ahead and play.
Okay, and then I'm gonna get back to showing y'all the playlist like halfway through, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what it is? Because I always hear this, and because I'm not culturally referenced to this, I sort of know what it is, but I haven't got a really good handle on the Jim Crow thing. I know it's always, whenever they talk about race, it comes up. So
right. So
do you want to explain that to me or to people who don't really know? Because
well, it's talking about two.
Again, that's more US centric than like I said, yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing it's talking about is a caricature of Black people in the minstrel show, which is very much appropriate to start with this, because this whole song is commenting on the origins of the music industry were really minstrelsy. Like the first recorded records that we have in America getting popular were kind of like minstrel records. In other words, people trying to enjoy Black music and culture while still dehumanizing Black people. So this took the form of blackface, where white people would put on Black makeup and try to take the rhythms and act like, okay, we're taking their rhythms, but we still have to dehumanize them, so let's be sarcastic about it. And then it would also take the form of really sometimes even just having Black musicians and having white people on the covers of records so that people would think it was okay. And it had, sometimes it would take the form of having Black musicians record music and having white people take all the money. So all three of these things still take place in some form today. And that's part of what this whole song is about.
Well, I mean, I teach a lot of stuff about sound in film and history of film. And there's a few times when I've shown like history of film, and we talk about obviously the first film with sound, or the main first film with sound. Do you know what that is? The jazz singer from the 20s, and that's got Al Jolson in it. And like when I first showed some clips of that, and I totally forgot. Do you know Al Jolson? He does all the black up, white guy dressed up in the black. And I totally forgot about this.
Blackface minstrel.
He comes on screen. I'm in a class with a mixed group of students.
How do you spell his name?
Al Jolson,
Al
the jazz
Jolson.
singer. But he was one of the biggest American singers from the early part of the 20th century. But he does, if you go on images, look, there'll be the black. He does Mammy, which is where he dresses up. There you go. Look, you can see him there, the minstrel character.
There we go.
Yeah, and this comes on screen. I totally forgot about this, and my students are like, Neil, what is going on here? Why is he dressed? And I'm like, I'm suddenly having to think, shit, how do I explain this?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. You always try to think, oh, well, this happened here or there, and once you have. Every time you look back, you realize this is woven into the fabric of our society.
Yes.
This is exactly what Neil's saying. Like, even as a historian, you could forget this and you go, oh, what's the first recorded sound?
I was really stumped, and I was trying to, yeah.
And then if you go to what's considered, if you go over the film major, right, going over from music to film, and they say, like, what's one of the first greatest films? It's Birth of a Nation. Where they're talking about, like, the scary Black people and rallying up the KKK, which definitely had real implications, right? It was real propaganda. So again, you don't have to, these are things that you could Google and get into. They're really important to know. But the underlying point I want to say is this stuff is like really impactful and important and woven into our history. Right. And it's stuff that we always talk about, like, oh, does this happen? Is racism real? Did it matter? And it really does, as you can see in this kind of conversation we're talking about.
Yes.
I will say that, look, here's a controversial point of view then, because I've heard people like Black artists call another Black artist saying they're Jim Crow. Yeah. there's that side of it where,
Yeah.
you know, there is this perspective.
Talking about you're being a coon and so forth.
Well, you know, like
But
you
see-
are, yeah. I mean, you are the minstrel. You know, I have seen artists, they accuse them of. So I don't know if Childish Gambino is in that.
The only thing that's controversial about that is when we have our white friends and allies and we're checking each other, and then the white friends like, yeah. Don't do that. Like if you're a white person and an ally and you see black people checking themselves, it's almost like if your mother screams at you and you're like, damn, my mom, blah, blah, blah. But you don't go outside and tell your friends like my mom is an idiot or like F my mom. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's something I'm really glad you brought up, because there's a lot of these things where it's like some of my white friends are confused and they'll be like, but you said this word or they said this word. And it's like, words are a higher level that are based on a foundation level. The foundation level is meaning and relationship, right?
Mhm.
So in any language, like if you go and put on some Chinese traditional garb and start dancing Chinese, no matter how well you do it, you're saying something different if you're not Chinese, right? Be careful with that. So it's like, yeah, I need to check my son, but I don't want to hear there's a teacher at school talking to my son too harshly. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's because the reason is a lot of these dysfunctions are responses to racism and oppression. So to have someone who traditionally comes from the oppressive group, no matter how right they are saying it, it's like, it's traumatizing to have the person who helped create the thing tell you that you're doing something wrong when they conveniently don't suffer from that trauma.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I will say in the UK in the 1970s, we had a show called the Black and White Minstrel Show. And yeah, if you Google, well, maybe not now, but like if you go on YouTube, literally, I know, again, it just, and that was on mainstream TV. Yeah.
Check out some of the comments and some of the comments. You know, there was
Yeah.
a question saying, "Is there racism in other countries?" And Timman said, "Always in Germany." And Soundphaser said, "In Portugal, we don't talk much about it, but it exists." You know, and if you don't talk about it, it may become a tragedy. We must bring this to the center of the stage. Most definitely, most definitely. What are your thoughts? As far as, you know, with it being in different countries, because we see it here as one of the main topics of discussion. You know, we're always, and I think you've also mentioned that CW was, you know, it seems like America is always talking about race issues.
It is. Like I said, trust me, I'm not saying that the UK, we're perfect. We've solved, of course we haven't. There's racism here, of course there is. And obviously there's racism everywhere. And obviously racism isn't just a color thing, you know. Obviously it's not just black and white to like a pun in the term.
I mean,
but you know, and
very tied into capitalism.
Yeah.
And
sure.
the using of people as money.
Yes.
But
If
I
it was
would
just
say,
all about race,
Childish Gambino, because this is the little link, is, you know, he's playing the minstrel character, and it's, well, I haven't watched loads. I've only watched this video a couple of times, to be honest. That was enough for me. So I haven't watched loads of, I know there's loads of deep analysis videos of this, but my feeling, he's playing like the minstrel Ben and the start. He shoots that guy, and then what is the guy bringing out there on that little?
So right there, that is a young man coming to pick up the gun or take the gun from him. Yeah. And then the body is going to be dragged away.
But what are they doing to the gun? What are they doing to the gun?
They're just covering it up, you know, basically.
But they're also taking care of the gun, which is showing that we clean things up. Like we take pride in our guns and our, you know, our certain amendment rights that we have. We have political organizations that put a lot of money into lobbying to take all this care of guns. But nobody
say who they are. NRA is the main one.
Yeah, and you see this at the same time. He's rushing to clean the gun, but no one's coming to take any kind of care of this person who also metaphorically represents the roots of American labor. So what we talked about, the music, the industry. This person, one, represents a black man, but he also represents the roots of American work and blood and sweat and tears that founded this country.
Yep.
And just like we talked about in music and film, when I was in DC, the architect that like created the Capitol building and did all this was a black man. It's ridiculous how much black blood, sweat, and labor has gone into this country, because we're always portrayed as like dumb, ignorant savages. But like the blueprints, the architects, and the just grunt forced labor as well. Yeah, you're seeing how much we just sweep that under the rug and then go take care of our guns.
Yes, that is. And they
the gun topic, to be honest, I mean, that's the controversial one. Like, to be honest, over here, like when we see, I mean, because this comes up later in the video, the shootings, and like, to be honest, I don't know what to say anymore about America and like the school shootings, and like it just seems that whatever happens, you can have like you have Sandy Hook where like 30 odd little kids die, and that doesn't stop anything, you know. I mean, yeah.
By the way, I did a residency over there, because you know I do workshops in schools and stuff, and
this is Washington you're talking about? No, where?
This is in Sandy Hook, Connecticut.
Oh, okay. Oh, was that Connecticut? I didn't even know it was. Is that?
I mean, we've had a few. It's easy to lose track of them, but you'd think that people like that would be quiet and not participate. And these youth were like some of the most participatory and engaged students. And it reminded me that a lot of times people who've seen real trauma and like experienced loss actually are some of the most ready to enjoy life, right? A lot of times I go into schools like Yale and stuff where like people are more well-to-do, and they act like they have the biggest problems in the world. And then I'll go and work with kids who've been like kicked out of schools or traumatized or seen massacres like this. And they're really like receptive and appreciating life and appreciating other people. So that's just a interesting side note.
Yeah, so that fact you got up there, that's ridiculous. That
154. Now, how about this? 154 mass shootings this year, and not one committed by a black man or an illegal alien. So all of these, we need to stop terrorists from coming over here and killing us and starting wars and doing all these mass killings.
That's the point. You don't need terrorists. You know, you're pretty good at killing yourselves. So, like, you know. That's me saying it in a sarcastic outsider view, but you know, that's what I'm saying. To me, this topic is so. I almost switch off now, because when I hear there's another shooting in some school in America, I know exactly, you know, nothing will happen. And there will be like the same comments. You'll have the NRA who are just like, no, we're protecting our, you know, the Second Amendment, or, you know, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And there's an element where I'm like, do you know what? I don't want to know about this, because I know it's just the same old. So, you know, it's not that I'm bored of it, because obviously it's shocking, but to be honest.
So if I can tie in on that, this ties in two questions together. So one is that Childish Gambino is the shooter, right? And he's kind of the minstrel himself, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to pointing fingers. And another is that, like you said before, like, is it okay for people to call each other minstrels? Part of the genius you're seeing, for those who are following this conversation, didn't realize it before. One thing that we do as people of color in America, traditionally through our music and culture, is we criticize each other from within. So you see, he's not giving a lecture on you people over there. Like, he's taking time to take on a dress, act out the character himself. He's not pointing the finger here. By taking on his character, he's saying this is us. And that says even better than what I was trying to say before about how it's important for us to check each other with love. He's saying, look at what we may be doing for each other as well. Now, you look at that statistic Pup just put on the screen. Not one of them was by a person of color, and not one of them was by a so-called immigrant, right? Yes. So now you see Childish Gambino doesn't do this, but he's saying, as in the tradition of people of color in America and throughout the world, really, I will take the blame. I see that you see me as a thug, a gangster, N-word, all of that, even though we're not the ones. It's not even possible It's number-wise, it's not even possible. And then when you look at the numbers, it's even less what the propaganda is saying. But I will show you, because I am representing America. I'm not representing Black people. And what's funny is that a lot of white people looking at this video would say, oh, that's so sad, Americans killing each other or Black people killing each other. And what he's really saying is Americans and people in the world since the dawn of mankind killing each other. And here we go again, Black people taking on the role just to say, if you can have enough empathy to realize this is you, even though I'm performing it in black skin, because I don't want to point at you, I want to say us, then you'll get the message that this is about violence in general.
Yes.
And it's about violence that we don't see because we see it through somebody else's body.
And I'm glad you said that.
Statistics is completely wrong.
Yes, I'm glad you make that point, because as we watch the rest of this video, you're going to see that now everything becomes a distraction. We in America and in most popular countries are distracted by social media and mainstream media and things of that nature, and and all the propaganda that's out there. And us as Black people get distracted easily, you know, with entertainment, or people period, just with entertainment.
Yeah,
So,
please say people period.
People
All
period.
these YouTube views and Instagram is not coming from
It ain't coming from right,
but
right,
it's being painted as Black people, and it's Black people again. And I hope this is why I'm so glad to have Neil, both as a phenotypically white person as well as someone from another country.
Right.
That it's important to point out we're always being painted as if we're doing this, right? As if like this, whatever, like 10% of the population and less in many parts of the world.
But to be honest, I never think, when I hear a shooting, I know you mentioned that it's not an immigrant or a person of color doing the shooting, but I know, to be honest, I just think another shooting. I don't really think about what color the person is doing the killing. I would say the stereotype view is, which some of my friends would say, but yeah, it's just the Americans killing each other again. You know, they've got a thing about guns. You know, they'll never take away your guns. You know, like you are one of the most violent societies, you know, going there,
and highly incarcerated.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a whole other issue about the prison population, but you know,
it's related. You don't think it's related?
It goes into this.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact,
you don't think it's related?
We'll play some of the rest of the. Let me play some of the rest of the video. Woo. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. Well, you had like a whole church, didn't you? Got shot in the South.
Boom. There you go. He brings it right back to that one. That was a very highlighted point, because that was a major shooting. Major shooting, and it was in a Black church. But what did we solve out of that? You know, what happened after that?
Just shouting out to T-Man. He said he experienced discrimination basically between Scottish and English people growing up. And I said, yes, he said he doesn't know if it's related. I said, yes, it's not racism, but it is a subset
it's
of
discrimination. And like I said, to me, it's discrimination. This is why I would say maybe in the US, you do go it more on the race, where to me, the overall thing is discrimination is the same. But then again, you've got more cultural baggage related to your history, you know, and this is what we're talking about now. But yeah, it is all the same sort of thing. And, you know, there's a certain element that since the first humans, we're very tribal in our humans are, you know, I come from
different tribes, right?
Okay. I'm gonna challenge you on this, so I want to hear what you said, because I'm a nerd and I've researched this.
Nerd alert! Yeah.
So a lot of times this gets used, right? That like humans are tribal and they kill each other, right?
Yeah.
You're a perfect example of how you're looking at England, right? If there's any place that around the world is looked at like the big two colonizers or superpowers, it's America and England, right? So the fact that you right here as an English man is constantly saying how ridiculous it is that those Americans are killing each other shows us that this is some abnormal dysfunctional behavior on steroids, right? And then furthermore, when people go back and look throughout history and do the research, I can't comment on it either way because you have to do the research. So me telling you the research I've done is still you hearing it secondhand, right? But when you do go back and do the research and you look at agricultural societies, you look at how war started to come about and where it started to come about, usually it was in places of fighting over capital, right?
Yeah.
And then when it's been very recently, like we're talking the past couple hundred years, few hundred years, but we're talking about hundreds of years where it became this really weird, dysfunctional, you're black, you're white, racism thing can mean you die on sight, I can use your body for money. Even in the past, when there were wars and people fought, they would keep people as servants or join them to the army. There really hasn't historically been a precedent for what's happened in the past hundreds of years. When we're talking about human beings being here on this planet for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, right? Tens of thousands of years. And only in the past couple of hundred, do you get people like identifying someone as a color and an object. So it's not something that came from human history from the best of my research.
To be honest, I don't know 100% know about all that, but you know, if you go back to Egyptian times, there might be some elements of that. I don't know.
What do you mean?
I mean, as you're talking about different definitions of slaves and stuff like that, you know.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know enough about.
Were the Egyptians enslaved the Hebrews?
This is kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know enough about this to have a proper comment. So I don't start talking about stuff I don't 100% know. You know, I don't feel I'm coming from like a sound sort of historical sort of background on that. But I think there is an element,
bro. It's okay. It's a relevant point. Like we know at times people were conquered and used as servants, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then it gets conflated with our recent history of this type of having people exist as slaves because of what they look like.
Yeah.
And founding a whole rape culture, a whole like death money culture off of it. It's worth researching, and it's worth us having these conversations because, like you said, we're both pretty much educated. We are in charge of teaching students, right? Everyone on this call is trusted to go. And if we don't know this stuff, right, and it's gotten this far out of proportion, then we need to have this conversation going and tell people, find out, is this extremely a strange period in time in terms of what we're doing with race and capital? Or is this just a normal extension of human behavior and impulses?
Yeah. I mean, I've got more a pessimistic view of humanity as like a tribe, or you know, I don't know if I'm super positive for the human race. I think, you know,
I think we've been colonized to have this idea that now in the modern time we are more intelligent, and all the weird things we do, at least they're better than our ancestors. And I have to say that's a very white supremacist colonized view. If you really look at, like, take Egypt. What else do we know about Egypt? That's not an opinion, because it's still there. The greatest architecture in the world, right? That they still can't rebuild. So we have this cognitive dissonance where we can look back at ancient cultures and say, oh, they weren't shooting each other, they weren't polluting, they weren't, but we're smarter than them. And I think it's for our ego, the human ego, that we don't want to admit that we could be stupider than people who are around thousands of years ago. We could have more dysfunctional practices than people thousands of years ago.
Where's the word forum come from, you know? Where's the word forum come from? That what was the forums? They were back in Greek, ancient Greece, wasn't it? When they had like the forums, people would gather around and talk about important philosophical subjects. Trust me. Right. No, I mean, you do make a good point, because obviously, we've all got our technology, we've all got our phones, and we're all like streaming live on the internet. But right, you know, is someone
how many of us even
born today instinctively clever than they were 200 years ago? Probably not. I think certain people are like still in their little tribal village, and that's the thing, mate. If you're like
even tribal village, what's wrong with a tribal village? I think when we say tribal village, again, we look at through the lens of people who are idiots today, and we call those tribalists, and then we project that onto actual tribal villages that didn't behave that way. A tribal village is like a beautiful community ecosystem of people who work together. And if you look back at most tribal behavior, tribes would go out of their tribe to find mates in other tribes. So it wasn't even like being in a tribe was incestuous or something like that, or like it's all about my tribe. A tribe was a beautiful community, and then when you were of age, you'd go out to another tribe and connect with that community, you know, and create a new family. So all I'm saying is like our music, our minstrelsy, like you said, Al Jolson.
Yeah.
This Childish Gambino is brilliant because it makes us start realizing so much of our minds are abused in the way we think about things and think about other people as stupid or backwards or older. And like you said, how many of us actually know how our cell phone works? But we're laughing at people who could actually build a brick house or a mud house. How many of us even would survive in a mud house right now, much less be able to build a cell phone or the things we created?
Right. That is the truth. That's the truth.
I will say there did used to be loads of tribes in America, but then we went over there and
then they would conquer.
Built America. Yeah.
They
were Native Americans, and like they never get in the conversation when you talk about America. It's like, well, we wipe them guys out. You know, there's a few, reservations where they're allowed their little bit of land.
That brings a great point of saying, then who's the true foreigners to the land? Where
the Americans are, to be honest.
And they called them Native Americans when, we never called ourselves Native Americans or Indians, period. So it's like they have this Indian perception now of, Native Americans, when there were people that actually were dark skinned, had woolly hair. It was dreads just like I have, but if you let them tell the story, it was just, lighter silk hair, what do you say? What's her name? What's the Native American? Pocahontas. Pocahontas type tribes that was only here on this land when it was.
That's just racial stereotyping, man. Yeah, they don't all look like Pocahontas. Yeah.
But that's what it did to the mind. Those type of stories of those stories actually infected our perception.
Yeah, well, look, I was brought up on cowboy and western films, Yeah.
I mean, there's a educator named James Baldwin, and he talks about how you grow up as a Black American watching these it was more in his time. He's a little bit older than us, rest in peace. But he talks about growing up watching these cowboys and Indians and rooting for the Cowboys, and then growing older and realize, oh, you're the Indians. Like, you're the one who you're being raised. So this idea of perception and like really the conquering of the mind, right? Yeah. Being what you have to do to be able to conquer bodies. I mean, when Pup said, like when you said, well, we never talk about the Indians or Native Americans, and then Pup said, yeah, they never talk about us, right? And then Elena's on the call. Like, Pup and Elena are indigenous people. Yeah. And when you talk about the conquering of the mind, like, I'm also partially indigenous, partially from Africa, partially like people who are here. There's many of us. I was teaching a school the other day, and one of the Black girls in the school, she looked like her eyes were a little bit more like what you would think is Asian looking. Okay. And she said people always think, oh, are you Black mixed with Chinese or something? Yeah. And she's Native American. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not only like, okay, they're exterminated and what happens to them. It's like, these are the very Mexicans that Donald Trump is talking about are immigrants. These are the people, and we're so good at
well, exactly. They need to get them immigrants out of America. So if you could all just leave,
they're still here.
The Native Americans can come back. If you can all go somewhere, if you can all go somewhere, maybe not over. I don't know if you've got room for all of America in the UK, but if you can all leave America, all you immigrants.
I got a screenshot that says the most dangerous immigrants arrived in 1492.
What? It's oh man.
But that's really what it is. Like, most of the indigenous people here were not exterminated fully. Like, we're all
I know, exactly. But that's
and we talked about
they had sex with some of them as well.
They actually had to make laws that the poor white settlers were illegal to have sexual relations with the indigenous, right? Because it was human nature to want to be together. and
T-Man's welcoming you all to England. There you go. You can all stay at T-Man's house.
England, let's go.
Come stay at T-Man's house.
When you're trying to
just
manipulate,
don't bring any guns over. Don't bring any guns. Leave your guns in America. You can come over. All right.
you know, those guns wasn't invented in America. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. You're talking about history. Trust me. Like, we've got a fucking 2,000 year history.
You know where the guns, germs, and steel stuff started, right?
Before, so
Damn German.
we've been killing, torturing, and enslaving people. You know, we're past masters at this, mate. Yeah, you've only been doing it the last couple 100 years, like.
Right. I mean, so does that weigh on your perception of your king, your queen of England and things
Well,
like that?
to be honest, this is a whole other conversation, but like,
No, it's the same conversation.
This is
to me,
America.
That's why I'm
They the
glad I
same
want this
people.
call. They'll keep trying to say it's a different conversation. It's the same conversation.
They're the same people.
yeah,
America still has to pay back the
Listen,
Queen of
yeah.
England.
really?
Yes, America still pays back the
Do
Queen
you know
of
what?
England.
We had to pay you back after the Second World War. We only finished paying that money back about 5 years ago. You know, because you lent us all this money after the Second World War. That was the fact that actually shocked me when I found that out. It was only in like 2000 and something. We finished paying our debt off to America because you lent us billions of dollars to rebuild after the Second World War. But yeah.
That was the cover
Here's a
up.
question. How do you feel about being called African American? Do you think that's a good term, a bad term, or like? Because I know I've heard like black
Great
people in the UK, they get called, "Oh, you African American." It was like, well, no, I'm English. You know, I'm not American. You know, I like it's they almost see it as a it's like.
Yeah. That's
Well,
a great,
first of
that's
all,
a great
that's
question. That's a
stupid.
great,
I mean,
great
we
question.
can all agree that's dumb, right?
Yes.
Before we
But-
get into
but-
the intricacies.
But would you like that term as an African? You know, are you African American or are you American?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Growing up all the way up until now, you know what I'm saying, until I got old enough to understand the terms and the history behind it, because you're not taught this in school. You're not taught this in any public schools at all. You know, they just teach you that you are African American, aka black. And you know, we call ourselves that. And all the way up until I got as an adult is when I realized, like, wait, this is stupid. It's completely stupid for me to be calling myself an African American. You know, number one, Africa, when you name yourself a nationality, it has to be connected to a landmass or a country.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
Africa is not a country. It's a complete
I was going to say, hopefully you know that.
And
Yeah?
it's like-
Africa is not a country. You do know that, yeah.
It's a huge continent too.
a huge continent at
It's-
that.
yeah.
So,
I don't know how the maps are in England, but in America, talk about messing with people's minds. They try to make Africa look the same size as the United States.
Yeah,
But
well,
like when I went to Russia, like when I go to different places, I'm always mind boggled at how much huger, bigger they are than America. Because our maps all show things like America's big and everything else is about the same size.
Our stereotype of Americans is that they couldn't name anywhere in the world apart from America. You know, they literally, if you ask someone where Finland was, they wouldn't know. You know, but
Well, I mean, that's the thing about, we have people representing us who are pretty dumb and xenophobic. But when you really think about it, we have people from all over the world. There's a lot of English people in America. One of the great things about America is we do have like the whole world in America. So
melting pot.
These things are funny to say, but just as like, since you're in England and we're here, I mean, I do need to qualify, like we have very sensitive culturally, and we have people from all over the world. So not just people who like know about the rest of the world. We have people who've escaped, like some of the great minds who were being persecuted in other countries because of their intellect, because they're professors, have come to America. You know what I mean? So we definitely want to shout out that, and that is part of the America that, you know, some of our leaders tried to erase. That's what makes us great, that we have these great minds from all over the world. But I want to say this.
Do you know what? I would argue with you there. I wouldn't say America is great. So there you go. That's the conversation. You're saying you're great.
You gotta
I
be
wouldn't
careful,
say you are great.
I think Trump would.
I wouldn't say we're
agree
great
with you.
Britain. I wouldn't say America's great. No, I think you got a too high opinion of yourself there.
Well,
you know,
yeah.
there's loads of better.
Is he about to say we need
There's
to
loads of
make it
better
great
places to
again?
play. You know, all this like we're the most free. To me, I think that's nonsense. You know, yeah, that's a construct.
There
from
you
your
go.
media, trying to pretend. that
Because
you're
are we
like,
really free? Are we really free though?
Yeah.
See, there's a lot of
I
we're
would
free under
argue
contracts. I'm gonna tell you right now, under the contracts, you know what I'm saying, that we're signing contracts every day and having certain statuses of like African American actually keeps you enslaved contractually.
Well, because my view is, isn't the whole of humanity? Aren't we all from Africa?
Yeah.
Isn't we're meant to be from the the African plains? That's where humanity is meant to have. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I'm an African Englishman, you know. So you know that's the stupidity of the racism. That if we all go into, like we said, if you they do this thing where they can analyze. It's not the DNA, but whatever you can find all the different areas that you know that are part of your.
The ancestral trait.
Yeah, exactly.
Trace.
Yeah, and they had a program over here in the UK, and they were doing that, and obviously they were taking some quite racist people, and obviously,
some of our people are leaving.
Like, oh my God!
Shout out to everybody in chat that's leaving.
You know, yeah.
Shout out to everybody that stayed with us through the
Yeah, we definitely wanna we wanna wrap it up a little. We're wrapping it up, y'all. Hold on.
I need to say this point because I know I say a lot of complicated or deep things. Obviously, I'm into this subject and I have debates or whatever, and I see how it really affects people in like life or death situations. So that's why I care about it a lot. But the main thing, like, and this goes to the question of do you like being called African American? It goes to the question of, is it okay for Black people to be calling another Black person minstrel, stuff like that? The underlying thing is, as someone who's objectified by an oppressive power, right? Whether it's women being objectified by men, people of color, different genders, when you get objectified, people try to make you this object and take away your ability to choose and be free and just be a normal human who can do good and bad things, right?
Yes.
Make mistakes as well. And what happens is, a lot of times people in power with good intentions are trying to fix that, right? So we have men who like want to save women and white people want to save Black people as if something that's been dysfunctional for a few hundred years is just going to be saved now that they realize and change it. And a lot of this, and this isn't to you, Neil, but this could come up through the question, so I'm glad you brought it up. A lot of times then people want this quick solution, like, so what should we call you? Is it Black or African American? Do women call each other bees, da-da-da? And the thing is, like, treat everyone as a human, right? So if I say, yes, call me an African American and you know me as your friend, please call me that. And don't walk up to the next Black person and go, well, Suffice said it was okay to call you African Americans. And much less don't say, oh, you don't like that? I can't stand you Black people. One reason you want this, because that's the exact point. We're people and we are all individuals just like you. If you refer to yourself as English, if you refer to yourself as a hip hop DJ, this and that, give people the decency that you would give yourself and your family to choose to be human and reflect in their own way. But don't try to like fix people and come up with the solution or right way to call people or think of people or anything. It's harder than that. It's a longer relationship like that. Give people the time to re-identify, yet know that when I have police following behind me, I know what they're seeing me as. And it doesn't matter if I call myself the N-word, African American, whatever. I know what the statistics are and what's likely going to happen and what tone of voice and what they're scared of and what I'm scared of, right? So it's not an easy thing, but what we can do as like humans and people in a community like Musicoin, where we're really trying to change dysfunctional habits, is we can ask people, who are you?
Yes.
Can I get to know you? And that might take more than a week or a year.
Understand who you are as a Black man or a white man, or understand who I am as a man or a female, or understand who I am as a mixture. You know, understand just who I am would be as a spiritual
Many people
being.
are spiritual beings, and they
I mean, I want to put I think you made a great closing point, you know, and I want to add a little bit to that of moving into the future. You know, I mean, we're an example of, you know, these, you know, the whole corruption that has happened, slavery, we're example of all of that, right? And just like how, you know, CW brought up that, you know, we all came from one place eventually. Like, you know, we could trace back our ancestry and still see some white men come from Africa and got African blood in them and things of that nature. So we are all.
Y'all gotta Google the white supremacist who found out that he was South African.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And went back home, and one of his followers scrawled racist slurs and broke into his house. One of his followers, because he didn't subscribe to his own dumb laws about white supremacy.
And you realize that we're pretty much all mixed up, and moving forward, I look at the children now.
Yeah.
You know, the children now, you know, you teach in the schools, we all teach in the schools, they're all mixed up. They mix. So what are these children going to grow up and be?
Yeah, I guess, well, if we're doing close, my final thing to say would be that the thing I heard the other day was that, to be honest, that if you want to stop discrimination, the way that actually stops is not by, to be honest, us talking about it. It's more that if you're in a white-only community, yeah, if you live in a little small town, there's 100 people and they're all white, you probably are, and you see some black person walking down the street, you're probably like, who's that? That's a bit weird. I don't know this person. If you're in a community where you're mixing with people, you go, oh, actually, yeah, I know this person. They're all right. It's that thing of, I don't know, they used to say it, you know, some of my best friends are black or something like this, or some of my best friends are gay, you know. Oh, you're okay. You know, that was the old racist.
I don't think that's an old racist thing. I think that's
it is an old bit, but that almost is the way it changes, is for people mixing and talking to each other, you know.
Yeah.
I used to hate Americans, but now I make
it's not going to be anymore.
I think you're all right.
Yeah, I think moving forward, you know, it's going to just be a more of, this is going to be a thing of the past moving forward. You know, I think we got a more, of course, there's going to be that fallout because of the perception needs to be broken.
Right.
You know, the war on this perception needs to be broken. But as far as our youth,
what music does, right? And that's what hip hop did with Peace, Love, Unity. It said, you can't stop violence and greed. You have to create something else, something better to do. So I like what Neil is saying. Like, talking about race as a problem is never really going to solve it.
Well, no, if you go to some don't be racist, they're not going to go, oh, okay, I'm going to stop being racist.
Right. It's like, don't think of the pink elephant. Like, we have to talk about it. However, it's not an excuse. See, the thing is, everything that seems like a solution in this ingenious oppressive system can be used to cause further oppression, right? So we're not saying people who are like hurting and traumatically racist and allowing injustice to go on around them should be talking about, let's not talk about racism while they're doing it, right? It's important to draw the distinction, but the whole thing is like, do things that embrace people and rehumanize people, right? And in the meantime, realize we still have a long way to go and be able to listen to people who are doing with it. For people who have to deal with it every day, if they need to talk about it with you, please, like, let them talk about it. Don't try to fix it. Just them being
exactly what I said, No, we had a good chat today. I think we got to tie up fairly soon, because we could literally talk here for hours.
But just
and I will say,
letting people be able to talk and know they're not crazy is really
good comments in the chat room as well. Some really good comments.
Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Yes, please. You got 10 men.
Shout outs to Bremen. I've DJ'd in Bremen a lot of times back in the 90s.
They have definitely a lot of engagement in the chat. Everybody's saying this was a great convo. This is exactly what the industry needs, period. I mean, music like that brings these type of subjects to the surface, and then having individuals from, you know, all over the world talk about it. You know, we talk about it, and we got to hear from other countries how, like, yeah, man, racism really don't exist over here, or we don't talk about it like that. You know, we like, then why? Is it, you know, it gets to open up that conversation.
But you need a conversation.
Great conversation.
And I appreciate Neil, because usually, like, the black person is the one in a group of white people and everyone's dismissing it. And in this case, like, Neil is the one white person, you know.
I feel so outnumbered and like discriminated. It's not all my fault. It wasn't me.
But that is rare, you know. So I really do.
I'm not the patriarchy.
See, yeah.
But I do appreciate you for being in that, and I hope we continue to have this conversation.
Yes, sir. Let me give a heads up for everybody that's watching. Next week, we are going to have a special guest by the name of Pascal. Pascal will be in the building. You know, he's a multi-Grammy nominated musician, producer.
Yeah, she is. It's not grannies.
He has like 500,000 followers on Twitter.
500,000 followers.
Yes, 500,000 followers on Twitter.
Big deal. You got to come check him out.
He's the Jay-Z of Musicoin.
There we go. He's the Jay-Z of Musicoin. You got to come next week and watch this interview. We definitely about to open up the floodgates to the industry with this one, huh? Let's tap into the real music industry with him. He said big up. So shout out to everybody. See you next week. Peace and love.
And look out in the comments of this video for the playlist link if you want to hear everybody who was featured in this episode.
Dope.